tell you about the assignment, and then we'll listen to some examples, and then you'll know what to do. So on Blackboard, week 6 is this. This assignment's called TCC. Let's call this so it's a little easier to name. TC3, Station Imaging. Station imaging is everything for radio stations. It sets the mood for the station, what they play, and what their advertising sounds like. If the image of the station is not correct, listeners may turn away from the station and listen to something else. TC Campus Connection plays many styles of music and has very wide programming, but overall, we are a college radio station. Our image is one of fun, exploration of new music, not the normal radio station, something not heard elsewhere, live radio with live DJs, although there are some stations in our area that still do live DJs. Not many do anymore. We must brand ourselves correctly in our imaging. So these are things that if you use them, you have to use them correctly. We are TC Campus Connection. So when I hear station imaging that says, listen to TC Campus, that's not us. I've heard people do things, TC Campus Connections. That's not us either. So you have to be very particular. Coca-Cola is a brand. They would never call themselves Coco because that's not their brand. You never push someone away from what you're trying to brand yourself. So if you use these in your script that we'll talk about, you have to use these correctly. You can listen to our station at tc3.io, and I'm going to change this right now. Radio, because we added an app. We can be found on the internet through our website, on an app called Radio FX, which is a college radio app. All stations on Radio FX are college radio stations, so you can listen to lots of different college radio stations from around the country. That's downloadable on Apple or Android.
Wait, you said on FX, it's not on iTunes, but I mean...
Yeah, I just changed it here on my sheet, sorry. I just added Radio FX. That's an application. There's also an app called TuneIn. That's a radio app as well. Or through the internet radio section of iTunes. That's probably the least place where most people go to. Most people don't even know there is an internet radio section of iTunes. We have talk shows and music shows. And our DJs are students, staff, and alumni. So those things I will not waver on. You cannot say, listen to us at tccc.io. That's not our URL. That's not our address. So those things are, like non-negotiable. That's our branding. So in this assignment, you're going to create 3 station imaging spots. You want to match the tone of the imaging to our image of a fun live college radio station where you can listen to new music, not the same old music on most radio stations. Each imaging spot should have a distinct hook. We say a tagline or a saying, a catchy phrase that is remembered after the ad has finished. Like Nike is great for this. Obviously, Nike's tagline is just do it. And we know that. And they put it usually at the beginning and at the end. Maybe not always at the beginning, but there's always that tagline in their advertising. So we want to think about that when we create advertising. I'm not saying it has to be the ones listed here, but whatever you choose, whatever you create, make sure that that's kind of the last thing you say. That really sticks in people's minds. They kind of hear the beginning of an ad and the end of an ad. Those are the things that people remember. Here we go. So each should have a distinct hook, a voiceover, that's you talking, and a music bed. That's what we just did with the DeWolf music. Sound effects can be included as well. A highly produced spot with lots of quick edits, sound effects, and exciting content will be more interesting than just reading a script. You can be funny. Funny is good, but goofy is not always effective. The best ads that I get, the best imaging spots, I should say, that I get, and later, the next assignment we'll do radio ads, are the ones where you create a scene. You create a story that we follow instead of just, hi, we are radio, listen to us here, this is what we do. Those are all very boring and generic. But if you do something like, man, I'm stuck in the library again, I got to study all night, wish I had some music to listen to. Oh, tc3.io. Now I'm creating this kind of story. I have a very short time to do it in, but I can create a story That makes it sound much more interesting. So I'm challenging you to, in the 3, try at least one where you try to create some kind of interesting story, interesting scene, interesting idea. That's not just the, here's the information, please listen to our station. The instructions are, begin writing the scripts, because you will do scripts, because everything we do in radio is scripted. Begin writing the scripts for your 3 15 to 20 second image spots. The time on these spots should not be longer than 20 seconds. That's including that last fade to negative infinity to silence in your ducking.
How can I possibly make anything sound good in 15 to 20 seconds?
It's easy. You're going to hear some.
Oh, God.
That will be about 3 sentences of text, so it's not a huge amount. Think of these as commercials or ads for our entire station, not for any specific show. So if you go to our website, I don't want to hear like, tune in on Thursdays for blah, blah, blah show. That's not what this is about. This is about, we are a radio station, listen to us. Here's some funny scene I created that gets you to want to listen to this station. All scripts must be approved before recording. So my goal always when we do this assignment is that you take the time in class, write up your script, get it approved by me before you decide to take off, so that then you can record at any point, during the week when you have time. You could even record today because you have plenty of time. If you leave and you don't get your script approved, you can email it to me, but it takes a little longer, obviously, for us to get back and forth. It must be approved by me before you go ahead, or you will lose points, because there's no sense recording something that's not going to work. And that's where we get into these things. Say you wrote in your script, TC connections, and then you're like, I'm not going to get it approved by him. I would downgrade you pretty heavily because that's not our branding, and you didn't get it approved. I would have caught that if you would have sent that to me. So it's up to you. Whenever we get to work time, now we're on to real content. So whenever we get to work time, it's your time. If we're done by 11, you've got an hour and a half to do work. But if you decide, it's nasty out, those guys already decided I'm gonna get out of here, that's totally fine. I'm expecting this all done, approved, recorded, everything by next week's class period. So part 2 is record your voice parts for all 3 of your imaging spots in the recording booths down the hall. Go back to your computer outside the booths and edit in the music beds. That's the music that we did from DeWolf.
That's where we dropped.
That's when you import that in.
Record your voice first.
Record your voice first. So what I do is, there's 3 ads. I do a track and I record my voice. I create a second track for the second ad. I record my voice. Third, I record my voice. Come out of the booth, import 3 tracks, rearrange them, start doing the ducking, edit if I need to take out, words that I said wrong, whatever. It's always easier to record and let it roll than to start, stop, and edit while you record. Just hit record, say it. If you make mistakes, say it again, just let it roll. That's so much easier than starting and stopping. So in class, we looked at volume automation lanes and how to control the volume of each track. Use these techniques for this assignment and follow our ducking diagram. That's on Blackboard in this week 6 folder. You're going to bounce each imaging spot with our file naming structure in interleaved wave format and as a 256 kilobit per second bitrate MP3. So you know how to do that. Follow this example. So these were ones that we did a semester ago. This is the file for the bounce. Person's last name, their first name, underscore, imaging 1, because this is the first one. The next one might be imaging 2. And then the time it took. So I want to know that you actually looked at the timeline and were like, oh yeah, mine's 19 seconds. When we broadcast those, every second matters. So I need to know, where do these fall? Where do I put the 15s? Where do I put the 16s? Where do I put the 17s? I don't want to have to go figure that out. You should be telling me. And that's the way we do it in industry. So the second one that bounced was imaging 2, and that one was 17 seconds. So you see they could be different.
So you mean, when I submit the assignment to you, that's the way it should be formatted?
These are the bounces. So remember, when you go to do a bounce, there's a part on the bottom where you can rename the file, different than the assignment. That's where I want you to change these.
Oh, name the bounce this.
Yep, the assignment is going to be station
name.
imaging, your name and then station imaging.
Yeah,
The
gotcha.
bounce is going to be named this, imaging 1, the number of seconds, imaging 2, imaging 3. There are 6 total bounced imaging spots. 3 is WAV, 3 is MP3. And the Pro Tools session due for this assignment. Now I put 4 sessions because some students don't like to record all of the 3 in the same Pro Tools session. That's totally up to you. I think it's more work to create a new session for each imaging. But if you do that, that's fine with me. Whatever works best for you.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Some people just like things to be clean. Like this session is just, oh, my stomach is growling. This session is just that spot. This session is this spot. This session is this spot.
Okay.
That's why they do it. I wouldn't. Most do not.
Because can't you just layer them down?
Yeah, you can just layer. Then you got a solo mute, and some people don't like to do that.
And you just save it to Pro Tools, and then you just go back.
Doesn't matter to me either way. It's
There's no right or wrong.
you decide your workflow. I'm not going to dictate your workflow. So here's some things that are possible taglines. Obviously, TC Campus Connection. Listen at tc3.io. Our saying we've used for a long time is connecting through learning. We have said your internet radio station, but these are just guidelines. I'd rather you came up with something cooler. You know, I'm old. Most of you are young.
But the thing is,
All of you are younger than me. So you have a different lingo, you have a different language. Do what you want to do that would attract your friends to listen. That's kind of the point, is these are commercials to get people to listen.
here's my question though. Okay, so if I use the branding that you got, it says you have others. Now you clearly state in here that we can't deviate from these TC Campus Connection, TC.
No, these aren't the taglines, but if you use these, they have to be this. So if you say TC Campus Connection, you don't have to, but if you do, it has
It
to
better be right.
It has to be TC Campus Connection, not
Right.
TC Connections or Campus Connections. That's not our branding.
Right, TC.
But you don't have to use these.
TC3, would you, like if I said TC3 IO, is it TC3?
.io. So what's different is here's our radio station. Here's that address. So we don't normally, when you do web addresses now, you certainly don't do http:// or // You never do that. And we rarely ever anymore do www. That's just 3
Right.
seconds of wasted time. So here's our address for the station. That's why I say tc3.io. It's like google.com. It's like nwtc.edu. That's the address.
Yeah.
And that's where most people are going to listen. The player is right down here on the bottom. But feel free to say, feel free to say, you can check us out, where to go? You can check us out on Radio FX. Just download it at the App Store of your choice. Something like that.
Okay, so
We can promote ourselves instead of doing that.
You can do what?
Promote ourselves instead of doing the TC thing.
No, because you're promoting the station. This is a imaging for the station. You just don't have to use those exact words.
Okay.
No, it's not about promoting you. This is you're the client. I'm the client. I've come to you for some radio advertising. You're creating advertising for my radio station. And I'm paying you with kindness and respect. All right, let's listen to some examples. Not all of these are, I just grabbed them randomly. They're not perfect. They're not maybe necessarily even the best from last semester, but I think they work. So see how they're not even all labeled maybe properly. Yeah, I guess they are. I guess they're all, this one doesn't have time on it. It just says 2, so that would be wrong, but these are labeled properly.
Yeah, 18 seconds.
So let's listen to what Rick did here.
Want more of TC Campus Connection? You can listen at tc3.io on the internet, through our website, TuneIn Radio app, or the internet radio section of iTunes. If you don't, the Radio Ninja will find you. He always finds you.
So you hear the music, it did that ducking structure, it played, it came down, he talked,
Yeah, right.
he was done, it came back up, it played, it went to silence. Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Overall 20 seconds. He read right from the list. Not super creative, but at least he added a tagline. His tagline's pretty good. That's what we're looking for at
The
least.
Radio Ninja will find you. He always finds you.
And he has a sound effect. So not the greatest script, but better than just, if he didn't put that last tagline, it would have just been the stuff there on the page. Be creative. Think about something else. I used to do 20 to 30 of these a day for the radio network I worked for. You got to learn to be creative.
Oh, yeah.
But what's cool is I just sat in a recording studio all day and wrote up a script for a couple hours and then went in there and recorded and did music beds and sat in the studio all day while others had to do real work. So it was fun.
Music and programming is diverse as the students who go here. Prepare to let the music take you away. TC Campus Connection, where the DJs are students, staff, and alumni.
Okay. I don't know if that's a DeWolf track, but I'm going to think it is. There are some DeWolf tracks with lyrics, but that sounds like a pop tune to me. But yes, sir.
His voice could have been more motivational or something.
Yeah, could have been more excited.
Yeah, because the music was exciting. So.
That's a great point. So choosing your music, if you have a real somber ad, you don't want, oh, I'm really sorry to announce this funeral home. You know, that wouldn't work. And for this, the music is all nice and happy. You want to at least be like, hey, listen in, blah, blah, blah. So that the more commercial radio you get, the faster, the louder, the quicker the edits are. Commercial radio seems to be like that. We're not so much like college radio tends to be more laid back and funny. So just think about it. Here's Austin.
Don't bother to press shuffle any longer. The DJs over at TC Campus Connect have you covered. Hosting the show, Shuffle. Shuffle is a 2-hour show where anything and everything is fair game to do.
He put that in the wrong folder because that's why it's labeled radio ad. That's what we're going to get to later. But he already had some problems. His volume came down really far, and he set it for his music. And he said TC Campus Connect. So that one we won't use it as an example.
Whoa there, mate. Why are you station surfing? Get out of those cold waters and jump right on into TC Campus Connection. Everything to fill your ears just a click away.
Pretty good. That was supposed to be Australian accent and ended up sounding more like a southern accent. But she did a good job. So almost nothing from the script on the assignment, from the words on the assignment. But she got the branding right and she made it fun. The bounce is a little bit long. Maybe she set that bounce length a little bit too long. We'd want to get it as close as possible. Let's see what Matt did.
What's up, gang? You're listening to TC Campus Connections. And no, this isn't your average radio station. Find us on the internet at tc3.io.
Please do not internet and drive. This broadcast is copyrighted. By all rights, there shall be no plagiarism.
So I had a little funny little disclaimer at the end. Although he did say TC Campus Connections. So that I can guarantee when those are given to me, the client, I go, nice job. I can't use it on the air. I can't do bad branding of my product. So as nice as it was, I couldn't use it. Oops. Because my brand, it's TC Campus Connection.
Oh,
if it's named something else, it's like having a Coke commercial and they say Pepsi.
Oh,
It's
the wrong brand.
yeah, yeah.
Got
So
it.
it's
I understand.
it's
Okay.
just not usable. It
Yeah.
passes for the assignment.
Right.
That might have been a case. I think Matt got his approved, but it might have been a case where he didn't get the scripts approved. So he probably lost some points for not getting it approved, and I would have said, drop that S. Sometimes it's written right, but you say it wrong, and then you got to catch that in the editing.
Nothing should stop you from listening to TC Campus Connection. Available on the internet, our website, the TuneIn Radio app, or iTunes. You can find the easiest way to listen to a station with variety. TC Campus Connection. Fun, variety, and made for everyone.
Little tagline, fun, variety, and made for everyone. I probably wouldn't have thought of that, but I think it works. A little bit different on his ducking structure, so it's not going to be a hard, fast rule about when that music should start. There will be some leeway, but to not confuse you, if you just start with the way we've been doing it, you should be fine. Does this make sense? Any questions about what you have to do, how you have to do it? Yes, sir.
So when we write the scripts, we just email them to you to get them approved?
Yeah, if you don't stick around or if you don't see me around here, then email them. I'll, as quick as I can, read them and give you some hints. If you send me a Google Doc, make sure you clicked on permissions. That seems to be what people do wrong most of the time. You send me the link, but then I don't have permissions to view it. Whatever way is easier for you, I'll get back to you as quick as I can.
Okay.
Emails, I'm usually pretty quick.
And it's So, yeah, 2 spots.
3.
3 spots.
Yep, 3 15 to 20-second spots, 2 bounces for each spot. So 6 bounces, 3 spots. Other questions?
There's 3. Where does it say 3?
Part 1, begin writing the scripts for your 3. Plus it says in this assignment you will create 3 station imaging spots above part 1. Anything else? Okay, so start by writing that script. Let me approve it if you're sticking around. If you're taking off, email it to me and let me approve it that way. Get in the booths to record, do your Pro Tools sessions and all that stuff just like we've done here in class. Save to your H drive. Don't save on the local computer. And let's see what we come up with for next week's class.
So we're basically making 3 commercials, like, for imaging spots?
Yep,
Okay.
you're doing 3. Each person, yep.
When you said 3 spots, but you said 2 bounces for each spot, what's a bounce?
Remember the bounce? Remember you guys did the golf speech? Did you guys do the golf speech?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the last one.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, did I give you a different assignment? And then you had to bounce that? You had to export that, right?
Oh, okay.
So in Pro Tools, I don't think I have that open anymore. I can show you that again. All right, so in Pro Tools, let's go to recent. So if I wanted to bounce just this music bed with my ducking structure. Now normally or last assignment I should say, yes sir.
Sorry about it.
That's all right.
I know this isn't your business. I'm looking for big oval diffusers.
Oh,
You know where they are?
I don't.
No, it's not.
I don't even know where you guys put them at all.
Last time I missed what they were missing, I found them all in the photo studio and out there.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
okay.
no clue. I haven't seen them in the audio area at all. So normally when we wanted to create that bounce region, we clicked on the clips, selected 1 or more clips, and then it created that bounce region all the way out to that blue arrow.
Okay.
But in this one, we don't need to do that because my ducking structure ends here. If I use that whole tune, my bounce is going to be 3 minutes and 30-some seconds. That's way too long. That's just a ton of space. So the easiest way here is to use selector and to find the end of my automation, drag. Notice I'm highlighting the automation, not the clip, but it's still creating a bounce region up here. And that's, I can even take that blue arrow now and move that if I need to get more precise. That's going to set my bounce region. I'm going to have more than one track now because I'm going to have voiceover, music bed, maybe sound effects. Either all of those tracks that I want to be heard have to be soloed, or the ones I don't want to be heard have to be muted.
What key command did you use for the bounce region?
I didn't use any. I just clicked and dragged.
Oh, okay.
So I literally dragged
Oh.
and it created that up here. And then I can grab that to,
So you highlighted it, and it's 30 seconds long, or 15 or 20 seconds long.
yep.
So then, the rest, what happens to the rest of it?
But I don't need that because that's where I faded to silence.
Right.
That's all I need. It will stop at the end of that region. The rest of that will not. If I don't create that region, it will bounce to the longest file.
So that bounce then, I'm gonna save it, right? And I'm gonna save it to my age, okay? So I'm gonna go file, save to.
Well, you're going to go File, Bounce to Disk.
Bounce to disk.
Remember, this is going to come up. If you want a WAV file, you select that. If you want an MP3, you select that. You want it interleaved. Here's where I change that name. So if I did imaging, hopefully I spelled that right, 1-20 seconds, because that's the length of it. Notice it always goes to the right folder. I don't need to choose to take it to somewhere else. It's going to create a folder within my project. I bounce it. Asks me, you wanted an MP3. I had said in the directions 256, so I put that there. I don't need to worry about any of the other stuff. Okay. Now I did not click offline, so it's going to bounce in real time. But I don't mind because I like to listen to them
So
now.
when you get this from me, then you're only gonna get
The 20 seconds.
this.
Yep, and whatever's soloed or not muted. So there's that. It ends the bounce. Did it in real time. Then if I go to my folder, let's go here. I was in my drive, Tuesday, DeWolf. There's the bounce folder. There's my bounce right there. And if I play it, it's 20 seconds long. So it's important that I set that to the exact length of what I want that bounce to be. This part is where that voiceover is. So we'll see how you do that. We'll see how good you get at that. Just follow that ducking structure, make it look like that. You should be A-okay. See how you do. It's your first real project, so you might have a few little hiccups. But overall, everybody usually does really well. All right.